long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about this video interview that Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire had with the Critical Drinker, because I thought it was fascinating. They were talking about Star Wars, and of course Han Solo came up and how egregiously they handled the character, from him basically regressing to where he was before he met Luke and Leia, which is character regression, not progression. It's de-evolution. And to me, I'm going to say this, I think I say this in the next part of the video, he is an example of what I like to say the left believes, that human beings don't change. They get to a certain place, by the age of 15, and they don't grow. They don't grow in character. We don't grow in values. We don't grow in how we see the world. And that is pretty much what I think they did to Han Solo, is they looked at him and said, he's a smuggler, he's a bad dude, he's a piece of shit, and we're going to kill him off like one. And of course, blaming Han for his son's stupidity is what they did. And it's very interesting to me hearing you guys talk about this Critical Drinker and Ben, because it's one of these things that people like us don't think about, is how does the left perceive basically how humans grow up, how we become adults. And when you start looking at how they portrayed Ben Solo, how they portrayed Han, how they portrayed Leia, you will see that intrinsically they don't value maturity. They don't value growing up. Now, who's to blame for all this? Well, there are two people to blame, and neither of them are named Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, sorry, I'm cleaning while I'm talking to you guys, is not the one that needs to be called to the carpet for what happened to Han Solo. The people that need to be called to the carpet are Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger. I'll bring up Bob Iger later in the video. Kennedy was the one that allowed this. Kennedy was the one that allowed for the castrating of Luke and Han. Okay, and that's exactly what they did. Once Harrison was off the set, then she set about dismantling Mark Hamill. And Mark does not have the cachet of a Harrison Ford, where he can't call Bob Iger and say, if you guys don't fix this, I'm leaving. He can't call him and say that. And so you had basically what looked to me, when you're talking about Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker being the namesake of George Lucas, that when they did the whole green milk thing, it was a comment on George being a very wealthy man. That's what that was. Okay. When you look at the sequel trilogy, it is extremely vindictive. It's vindictive on Rian Johnson's part. It's vindictive on Kathleen Kennedy's part because she let him do it. The green milk issue is, George Lucas milking the franchise for money. The green money. Okay, that's what that milk is. Okay, and it took me a little while to figure that out. But when you watch that scene, you suddenly realize what's going on. For accuracy's sake, Rian Johnson didn't spend a year up in San Francisco at the Lucasfilm offices with several people that should be fired from Lucasfilm. Okay. One of them happens to be a red diaper baby named Pablo Hidalgo, but we're not talking about him. We're going to talk about why this happened. To me, it was a very vindictive thing on Kathleen Kennedy's part. I'll talk about that more later. And the fact that she's never, I think, appreciated the fact that Harrison Ford and George Lucas and Steven Spielberg do not have much respect for her because she's not talented. Star Wars, if you're a halfway decent writer, should be an easy thing to do. Indiana Jones too, and she screwed it up. Well, let's talk more about Harrison Ford.
For 10 long weeks, the Star Wars company labored on the suburban London sound stages, bringing to life a film that had begun as an idea with George Lucas 3 years before.
No, stop. Not one more crooked word. Your tongue could open a wine bottle.
Never had an agent. It's not like she worships the devil.
Well, she doesn't have to. He worships her.
I can't believe this. You're actually kicking me out?
Do you want me to draw you a picture?
We'd be here all night.
Get out!
So, this is what I think happened. It's a real quick theory of mine. I think Kennedy met Ford 78, 79 when she came out to Hollywood, started working for Spielberg, or she probably met him when they started working on Raiders of the Lost Ark, and decided her next conquest would be Harrison Ford, because she was one of those women who wasn't talented enough to go and get things she wanted on her own. So what she did was she slept with guys and slept with them on the way up. I mean, I would say she probably did Steven Spielberg. I think she probably attempted to do Harrison Ford and it didn't work. She attempted to do George Lucas. And I think that really colored her judgment as far as her attitude about who they were and how they perceived her. All right, you got Steven Spielberg in a video from Japan when they made Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, saying she made a great cup of coffee. That's not a compliment. When you're a movie producer and you think you're a serious player and you get called out for being a good step and fetch it, that's not a compliment. And I think when you see what happened to Han and Luke Skywalker too, there was a lot of her personal vindictiveness in it. I also think that Larry Kasdan wanted to get back at George Lucas for daring to go against his longing to kill his favorite character off, Han Solo. They didn't think about the right way to do it, obviously. And, it became, you don't, look, you can tell who an artist is by their creations, okay? And when their creation is killing off hero characters, first off making them drunk deadbeat dads, who would, drive around in a 67 Chevy with their dog. That's vindictiveness. That's not good writing. That's vindictiveness. Did Harrison Ford look at it that way at the time? No, he didn't. And I think that would come back to haunt him. I think he realized what they'd done and didn't let her get away with what she wanted to do to Indiana Jones, which was kill him off, erase him from his own franchise, and give the hat and the whip to Phoebe Waller-Bridge. That was the rumor, okay? And that's Kathleen Kennedy giving George Lucas and Harrison Ford, because they, really didn't probably respect her decision-making, the finger. Okay, now, what she did to Mark Hamill being the stand-in for George, what she allowed to happen, right? Look, first off, I want to talk about this, and I'll talk about Bob Iger's culpability. Rian Johnson probably met George Lucas. George probably said, wow, and walked away. Because Rian Johnson's first philosophy is, your heroes are never who you think they are. They always let you down. Which is what The Last Jedi did with Luke. And there's no rhyme, no reason. The reason why these movies are so bad is they're not consistent with who the characters are. If you'd taken Han Solo at the age of 70 years old, he wouldn't have left. First off, he wouldn't leave Leia. She meant more to him than anything. She saved him, for fuck's sake. And he wasn't the person he let people think he was. Okay? That's the thing. It's called evolution and growing in wisdom. Characters change constantly. What you're dealing with Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy, are two very devout left-wing cultists who actually believe that human beings don't change. These are people who think that you and I should be forced to go into a camp to change our opinions about freedom, about religion. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And this is what we got. She hates Mark Hamill. He had no power to go to her and say, I'm not doing this. This has to be fixed. This script sucks. Carrie Fisher was sick, so she couldn't stick up for him. I mean, look, everything worked out to the nasty bitches strategy, including, now what we have learned, the fact that in her contract with Disney, there's a clause that says she can't be fired for cause. So nominally right now, she's the head of Lucasfilm. Nominally. But last summer, she was suspended from the campus. She was kicked off the server for a time. And she has not been allowed on campus since. Okay? So she's on a permanent vacation while they're waiting for her to resign. She's got until next October on her contract. And this is bullshit, of course. We all know it's bullshit, but there it is. Whose fault is that? Bob Iger's fault. The man in the photograph, it is his fault this is happening. Okay? Had he gone in 2018 saying, because Soy Low, a Soy War story, made no money. And again, you guys are right. Why make a movie about a character you fucked up so bad? And then killed like fucking Palpatine. All right? But Iger should have said, Kathy, we're not re-signing your contract. Because there's also another clause saying that if she makes a movie that makes $1 billion, she's automatically re-signed. Okay, and there has to be a way to negotiate yourself out of that one, Bob, but he never did it. And now they're stuck unless she resigns out of embarrassment. And I really think, and this is the end, this is where I'm going to leave you, Ben, you need to talk to Gina Carano about what she was talking about, the emails and the information they have that would embarrass Kennedy, that we're still waiting to see. You can't say there's going to be a lot of information that's embarrassing to Kennedy that's coming out, say it's coming soon, and then it's been a month. Okay. People start to doubt it. All right. But I like what you guys said. I do disagree with the Star Wars is dead thing. It's not. And they are probably erasing the sequel trilogy again. You got to remember, they closed the Star Cruiser Hotel, and they, you don't see Kylo Ren or Rey walking around Galaxy's Edge anymore. But you do see the Mandalorian, and you do see Boba Fett, and you do see Grogu, and apparently Star Tours is going to have Ahsoka. So it's starting to change. This is Steph, signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.